Okay, streaming. And I have an extra audience member. uh, you make me feel uncomfortable. Okay, anyways, so today I'm not playing games. Hey, the Nerd Mansion's already here. Hello. I'm not playing games today. Taking a break from that. In fact, actually, it's partly because, yeah, my, videos didn't, my past two videos didn't perform very well. They usually at least get, like, 100 views, by the end of the week. And neither of my previous two videos even broke 100 views. So yeah, we're going to take a break from that and then maybe come back with an adjustment to thumbnail and titling. So, anyways, my audience member is still watching. Okay, alright. My girlfriend didn't want to sleep alone, but I do have streaming tonight, and she's very kind and lets me stream despite the fact that she wishes that I would go to bed at the same time. And so, instead, she has decided that she's just going to leave the door to the room open just a little bit, and she's watching me. She doesn't want to be on camera, so she's going to be in bed over there with the door open just enough where she can see me. So anyways, anyways, because video performance has been not great for my previous few videos, let's take a break from that and we'll come back to game streaming again later. You guys gotta do your part, do the YouTube thing. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, that kind of thing. Today I want to talk about some stuff that I've been working on. There's been a lot of things that I have worked on that, I feel like in the last time I did a stream showing off my game, I was kind of like doing a playtest. I playtested through the game from the very beginning and through all of the content that I had done thus far, that I developed thus far. And along the way, I had found a lot of bugs and other problems, not necessarily bugs, but other problems with the game. And I just created a really, really long list. Right here, we have the playtest notes. And starting from here, really, this is everything that needs to be fixed. Right here. So that's, and that's actually not everything from the playthrough. I've been crossing off a lot of things. That's what this gap is here. It's like, all the stuff up here is like stuff that I've just been going down the list and crossing off the things that I can cross off very easily. Whenever I get to something that's like, that's going to take a little bit more work, I just stuff it to the top of the list, above this gap. So there's been a bunch of stuff I've already crossed off, but still more to do. But I kind of took a break from that because there's a few things that I really wanted to work on. And one of those things is my shop. I had briefly talked about this. Like I said, whenever it was the last time that I had played, I had streamed my game. And I talked about changing the way that the shop works, because so the way that the game has this very open-ended, like, kind of do what you want philosophy, and that kind of like is the very DNA of the game. It's seen in many aspects of like every part of the game, everywhere. From the very thing that I've talked about, my options menu, like straight from the very main menu, you are presented with a do what you fucking want with my game kind of mentality, philosophy in the design of the game. Now, when I was doing the playtest, I ran into something that really, really bothered me. And it was the shop. The shop really, really annoyed me. Because the way that the shop originally worked in the game was that the shop would kind of level up as you progress through the town. So, like, there's this... there's the town mechanic here, and there's lots of different stuff that ties into it that levels up the town. And so basically, as you would level up the town, the shop would progressively increase the kind of items that it has in stock. So at the very beginning of the game, you basically just have, your basic healing items. And then it's like, I think when you get to like rank 4 or 5, I think it was, suddenly it adds in some of the weapons to the shop stock. And then you rank it up a little bit more, and then some more weapons show up. And also periodically you'd have these items show up. But here's the thing, the way that these stats on these items work, and just the general like do what you want philosophy that's in my game, this kind of really felt very counter to the game. So first of all, each of these weapons are effectively the same, but just with a different element. So like, for example, this bow staff does like, I think it's +2 attack, +1 magic attack, and then it has it does electric damage. Its attacks are sorry, not electric, but wind damage. It does wind damage, so it's like elemental type is wind, and it has a 10% chance to apply a wind stack. So all of these are basically the same except with their corresponding elements. So one's going to be shock, one's going to be fire, etc. So, but the stats are all the same. So it never made sense to me when it goes to the shop leveling up. It never made sense to me to have like this weapon appears first in the level, because then it's kind of like it's almost like a subtle way of telling the player like, this might be the best weapon that you want to buy right now. This is the main element. I don't want players to feel like they need to be forced to use one element. I want them to choose whatever element they want to use. So basically, I want all 3 choices to be present whenever they can buy a weapon, which is why it was like ranks 1, 2, and 3, and maybe 4. You would just get like the stock would like increase like healing items and some accessories. You can't see that. Sorry, I've been just like talking away. These are the weapons I'm talking about. And these are the defense items. So it would like stock some of these defense items in there, and then it'd hit level 5, and it would add these to the stock, just all 3 of them at once. So when I was playtesting, I didn't like this. The accessories, both the accessories and the weapons. So the weapons were really the biggest offender of this, because at least the accessories, although you didn't get to choose whatever you want from the very beginning, at least you were getting consistent. You have been summoned. At least I was getting like at least you'd get consistent new items to give you more choices more regularly. With the weapons, it was way more inconsistent, and so basically you were forced to have to get the town up to rank 5 in order to be able to use the weapons. And so basically it felt very counterintuitive to the philosophy of the game, which is this very kind of do what you want design. And so I basically just wanted to make sure that the weapons are available from the very beginning. And while we're at it, make sure all of the items, the defense items, are available from the very beginning. So that basically required completely redoing the shop. And so I've scrapped the old way of the shop, just leveling up. It's still kind of there because I didn't know what to do with like the healing items. The healing items play their own special role, since they heal by percentages. So even in the late game, your early healing items are still relatively effective. So I think I'll just leave those healing items there in the shop as it levels up, as it was before. However, your defense weapons, or your defense items and your weapons are now available from the very beginning of the game. And I talked about this in that stream where I had mentioned that the way that I see it is that what I want to do is, in order to connect the weapons to the community leveling up thing, is to basically have the weapons decrease in price as you increase the level of the community. Now, I've kind of wrestled with this because there is another problem with this, and that's generally speaking, in an RPG, as you progress deeper into the game, the economy kind of inflates more and more. And so by the time you reach endgame, you are just being showered with cash. And so basically, even the most expensive items are pennies to the player. So, and as it is right now, the way that gold scales in my game, that is still very true. So there is one problem with this current design, is that it kind of doubles the effect of that inflation that happens naturally in the game, because not only am I earning more cash, but also the prices of things I want to buy has also gone down. So now it's like, it's dirt fucking cheap. And so it's sort of a problem, but am reconsidering the way that I will scale the money in my game, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But basically, now what I want is that the prices will go down as you level up the town. Now, there is one problem with this as well, is that basically I want the player to be able to choose what item they want, but they're gonna feel kind of motivated to want to like keep raising the town's level to lower the price. And so it kind of is like you're not being forced to as aggressively as it was before. Like, you don't need to upgrade the town, but there's still going to be that kind of like subtle push in saying like you should do that. And I don't want players to really feel like that. I still want players to feel like they have a free choice in doing that. But that's kind of like, that creates this sort of paradox here where I want this main mechanic of my game to integrate with this other mechanic of the game, but at the same time, I also want it to be free and open for the players to do what they want. And so it's kind of like, if I want these two mechanics to tie together, it's kind of at odds with that philosophy. So that's where the second part of this whole shop has come into play. There's actually two more parts to this shop. One of these items, funnily enough, Mr. Orc, I think in that stream a few streams ago, you had made some sort of joking response about this, and I actually kind of thought about it, and despite it being a joke, it was a good idea. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it did lead me down a rabbit hole of having certain items go on sale. So there's two parts to this. So number one is that there is now a timer that will play in the background. And this timer, I currently don't have the exact amount of time it's set for. I'm thinking it'll probably be set for 10 minutes of like actual play time. 10 minutes of actual play time. It will cycle through what item is on sale. And it will just randomly pick an item that's on sale. And I'll show this off in a minute. My ideas usually conceal themselves as jokes. Yeah. Well, your jokes were helpful. I don't remember exactly what it was you said, but I do remember you had said something that had sent me down this rabbit hole. And I don't remember which part. There's two parts to this, right? So first of all is the random sale part. So the random sale part is probably, I think, the most interesting and most fun. It was a bitch to get working right, but it's working right now, I think. So basically, just every 8 minutes, it picks a random item from here in the shop, and we'll put that item on sale. And basically, the sale price is going to be... I haven't decided yet. I think there should still be some sort of reward for, like, maxing out the town level. So I don't think it's going to put it on sale at the price of max level town. But it might put the price at, like, level 8 or maybe level 9. I don't know. And so, yeah, so it'll put the item on sale for that price. So that way, the players may feel more motivated to just pick up a random item that they can afford without feeling the need to, like, try to grind the town's level up in order to get a better price on items. So that's number one with the pricing thing. Now, number two, this one is kind of interesting. So the problem with this, that first option, is that's entirely luck-based. And if the player really specifically wants one item at the very start of the game or pretty early on, they may have really shitty luck, and just that item may just never go on sale until, like, really late in the game, because that's how luck works. So the second part is the discount please mechanic, which is exactly what it sounds. The way that it works is you can go to any item and request a discount. Simple enough. The way that that I've planned to work, I haven't actually, like, programmed this in yet, or evented it. But the idea I have in my head is that basically you get one discount. The shopkeeper will be like, oh, well, I guess I kind of need the money now, so I'll go ahead and give you the discount. But then if you continue to ask for the discount over and over again, first of all, you're not going to get it. And second of all, I am planning on punishing that by actually increasing the prices. So the shopkeeper will be like, why do you have to be such a fucking nuisance? I already told you I'm not giving you another discount. Now I just don't want to give you the normal price. So anyways, basically, you get one free discounted item. That sounds weird. You get one item. You can choose any one item to get it at the sale price, regardless of whether it's on sale or not. That's a better way to put it. So those are the two parts to help with that. So that allows players to basically pick whatever item they want, and they don't have to worry about the sales, hopefully picking the item that they want. Then any item that goes on sale after that, then, you know, it's just luck of the draw. So, so I put a lot of work into making this look nice. There's a few things that I've done. I'm going to go ahead and show it off. Am I? Yeah, I guess so, yeah. So not everything in the shop is finished yet. Oh, and you know what's funny? I just remembered hearing my menu music. I had actually queued up my soundtrack to play in the background while I just sit here and chat. Actually, there's not really any sound going on. Let's go ahead and just do that. How's the volume on that? Oh, really quiet. Let's turn it up. Really loud in my headphones now. A little bit on the loud side. That should be okay. Yeah, I think so. Alright, so here's how this works. So first I need to actually start... Oops, where is it? Nope. There. We need to start the game. There's some debug stuff that pops up. Don't worry about that. So currently, not everything is set up correctly. These items down here don't have their HUD yet, but these items, the weapons do. So if I go here, you can see that it pops up. So it gives you a HUD display showing you some basic information, you know, the title, this is actually the weapon this is a scale-up version of the actual weapon that you'll see in battle. And then the description, there's the icon that you'll see in your inventory. And a lot of the icons for the inventory are just like scaled down versions of the, I don't know, the weapon, the attack animation weapon. And you get a comparison sheet here between this item and your starting sword. So there is... Yes, this is my music. So there is one flaw with this. I should like write down all these things that I say I'm going to come back to, because I'm not going to remember. I already kind of forgot that other thing that I said that I was going to come back to. I remember saying I'll come back to it, but I don't remember what that was. So I'm going to write this down. Explain... problem with comp chart. Hopefully I'll remember what that means. Okay, so then I can just move, right? So here's the neat thing I like about this. So this requires no additional interaction other than just looking at the items. So here I am going to show you my keyboard. And I'm going to try not to bump the mic. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at it. And without pressing the action button, it just brings it up, right? So there is no additional button presses or menus to navigate. It all just flows seamlessly through each of the different items, just like this. Which I really like. It's snappy. It looks cool. I like the little animation on it. And hey! There's the sale. So, let me, I'll answer your question, Nerd Mansion. Sort of. The music that I'm playing right now is, for my game, so no, you can't license the music that's for my game because it's for my game. If you need music, you can pay me and I'll try to whip up something for you, as long as you're not as picky as Mr. Orc. So here you can see that there's the sale. So it's picking random items to go on sale. There we go. It's not on sale anymore. Right now it's cycling very fast through the sales because it's for debugging, right? So it's going to go through them really fast. It's not supposed to be that fast, of course. If you check the little pop-up messages, anytime it says I am running, that means there's a new sale. Theft is not an option in my game. I do say the game is a do-what-you-want kind of game, right? But I mean, like, within reason. There's not, like, a stealing mechanic. That would, like, I think, with the way that my game's designed, I feel like there definitely need to be some sort of, like, mention of that, like some sort of morality system, which would also just, you know, suddenly, like, balloon the project scope. And I already thought this project was small in scope until here I am a year and a half later still fucking developing. Oh, just steal it. Ah, I get it. I see. So, yeah, don't steal the music. obviously. I can't sue you, but I do believe it would be within my rights to file a DMCA takedown, and if I need to, if my content has been improperly stolen, I can file a DMCA to get it taken down. So, and it would suck to have your game that you worked so hard on taken down by an asshole who decided to file a DMCA because you unlawfully stole my music. So, anyways. So, yeah, the sale thing pops up on whatever is on sale. So, there we have it. Yeah, that's a tricky one. It depends on what the pirate site is. If it was like Fit Girl, and Fit Girl is not gonna repackage anyone's RM game unless you're like, you know, Omori or Symphony of War or something like that. But a lot of people browse Fit Girl's site, and also Fit Girl tends to recommend different games that they've been playing. And especially when it comes to indie games, they're always like, hey, you should really give this indie game a try. And if you like what you try, be sure to buy it. So, you know, if I had my stuff pop up on Fit Girl's stuff, I'd be pretty happy about that, honestly. Because it seems like, despite it being for piracy, they seem to be quite supportive of developers. So, anyways, right, now that I've shown off the sale thing, you kind of get how that works. Oh, yeah, I feel like that other thing I said I was going to come back to. Ah, Alice is here. I'm surprised there's so many chatters today, despite it not really being a gaming stream. So anyways, so I wanted to circle back around. The thing that I said I was going to talk about is a problem with this comparison chart. So, I'm not a programmer, as we all know. And so all this beautiful boxes, which likely could be drawn with Pixie, and could be done through programming and not an image, is not how I handled this. All of this has been drawn in a photo editor. And that's where the problem is. So all of these are just photos that have been manipulated in Photoshop, have been created and used for this HUD that I've created. So the problem is here with the comparison block is that it's not actually going to compare against your current equipment. So it doesn't dynamically change this comparison block here to be updated for whatever equipment you currently have. Now, I know that's not exactly ideal, but in my game, I think it's probably fine. I know some people are going to probably be like, that's fucking weird. I can easily see Mr. Orc maybe even chewing into that, being like, why doesn't it fucking compare the thing that you currently have? But I could do it, but it would just be a mess of like conditionals that I just don't really want to have to deal with. It's not super important because, as I had already mentioned, the weapons have the same stats. All it is just a change in flavor of the element, right? So like, if you look at these top three here, these are what I've been calling the damage now weapons. So basically, they have a lot of front-loaded damage. So like, it's one more attack than your boring sword, so it's 2, and it has magic, which is your magic attack, so there's +1 there. So compared to your boring sword, you can see that it has a +2 benefit over it. So then we go to these 3 down here, which I have called the the damage later weapons, because what these are about is about applying stacks, and their stats kind of reinforce that. So the attack, your basic physical attack, is the same as your regular attack. It does have +1 magic, so it's gonna be better than your boring sword no matter what. But then it also gives you a little bit more compy, a little bit more confidence points, and it also gives you a little bit more stack rate as well. So not only, it's not really just a flat 80%, but you get that 80% plus the whatever 3 stack rate corresponds to. So it's basically just saying, like, this is how much better this weapon is compared to your starting weapon. Yeah, burst and dot weapons, basically, is what it is. So, yeah. There we go. Because there's, like, you basically have the exact same numbers here, no matter what. It's just the element that's changing up here. I just didn't see any reason. I know there's going to be people, like I said, who would complain about this not being updated dynamically. But it's really not important. There's very few weapons in the game. It's not like Borderlands where you have, you know, thousands of guns that you're comparing stats between to see what's most effective. Obviously, if it was a game like that, I get that. I know. This is the big controversial hot take. Oh my god, that should update dynamically. But I just don't see it as that big of a deal, because you're not... there's very little variation. You have this here. And that's only when you're buying. I believe you still have your regular... of course I don't have... there we go. So, like, if I were to... I think I put it in wrong. Oh my god, I don't remember these things. Oh, right. Fucking console command is useless. Did I get it right? Thank you. Jesus. So you still get your regular comparison screen here. So it's not updated dynamically when you're shopping. But you still have your regular comparison chart here. Right, that's the way that I see it. Maybe one day I'll be a skilled enough programmer and figure out how to add the have it dynamically change what picture it shows there without having a bunch of event clutter. But right now it's just, it'd be so much event clutter, like having to create like comparisons, like the way that I know how to do it. It would just be a mess. So, anyways. So basically, the way that this works, this is also a mess, if you couldn't tell, of just a bunch of events. This is, because, I really didn't want to have unnecessary, like, loops running in the background, because there is already a parallel event running. It felt really unnecessary to track region ID, because you would need to create a parallel event to keep track of players X and Y, so that way you could set the region ID. So although I did place regions here, they actually don't do anything. They're just there to help me remember what's being assigned. And I have faked updating the region ID by just, adding player touch here. Player touch, it updates the player region ID by just setting a value to it. So it's not actually the region ID, but it works the same way. So that's what all these are. These ones that cap off the ends are to set the region ID back to 0, because 0 is used to clear the images from the screen. And then you just have this mess of like this one's 7, 8, that goes all the way down to 11, and then 12, that goes all the way down to 16. So just all of those are just manually updating it. So basically what you have in here is this parallel event, which is just showing, you know, images. It's only 3 images. I hate having to work with a mess of images, because if you remember a while back, I showed the little mini game where you just like add and subtract, and that was all done with like pictures and stuff like that. And that used a ton of pictures in order to execute that. And just trying to remember, like, okay, picture 1 was this one, but I think I need a picture 5 to do this, and then but picture 10 is like the shading for this, so that needs to be here. And it's just like keeping track of all the pictures and what they do in an event is just a nightmare. So again, I like tried to, like, I guess you'd say, cut corners here to not have to deal with having too many pictures. So oh, that's weird. It sets the sales sticker. I think that needs to move. God, I just saw that. That's in the wrong spot. So anyways, yeah, so it's basically 3 different blocks. So if we go back here, we have these 3 different blocks. So there's the title block, which has the title and the description, the icon block, which is to the left, and then the comparison block, which is the bottom. So, yep, that's how that works. And yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with it, pretty satisfied. We can look at the common event here, which controls the sales. So, thanks to Mr. ATT Turin on the forums, who basically wrote this for me because I'm too dumb to write something this smart. Basically what this is doing is, so the problem with the whole sales mechanic thing is that what happens is, well, there's some things that need to be accounted for. Like, for example, if the sale only happens, like, you know, once every 10 minutes, number one, we want to make sure that that luck of the draw doesn't make it have the same thing go on sale twice, basically making it 20 minutes. So one thing that's accounted for is that it will not put the same item on sale twice in a row. The other thing that needs to be accounted for is, well, what happens if the player has already bought the weapon? They don't really need that weapon to go on sale again. I want to make sure that if an item is going to go on sale, that it is an item they don't have yet. So that's what this script it's a common event, not there. That's what this script does, is basically it is just checking all the current items, checking if the player has those items. If the player doesn't have that item, then it'll go on sale. If the player does have the item, then it won't go on sale, and it will try to put a different item on sale. So, yeah, and I could have figured out how to do that with just through regular eventing, but it would be a mess of conditionals that I just didn't want to have to deal with. So I asked for a cleaner way, and the good fellow, Mr. ATT Turin, pulled through and gave me something fantastic that cleaned up that common event quite a lot. Just that little script right there. So, yeah, that's that. Oh, there is something else I wanted to show off. I totally forgot about this. So, another thing while I was at it, I talked about the leveling up shop mechanic. or not leveling up shop mechanic. Well, I mean, that is part of it. I talked about the leveling up of the town. And while I was here, I had to move some stuff around in my shop to make room for these tables to display the items. And while I was doing that, moving stuff around, I really wanted the shop to... Oh, we need to make sure that this is going so it's not annoying. So I wanted to have the shop reflect its state in the game. So so in the game, the shop is basically because the town is low level, as it were. A lot of merchants are not coming to sell stuff at the town, and as a result, the shop is very short on stock at the beginning of the game. So I wanted the store to look, well, a little bit empty. And so that's what you can see here, is at the very start of the game, the store is a little bit empty. So as you level up the town, the shop will slowly change over time. So we'll just do game.setTown to 2. I think 2 is the first one. And there is a small change there. Let me know if you saw what the small change was. And then we can do game.setTown 3. And there was another small change. And we can do game.setTown 4. And there was another small change. And game.setTown 5. And there was another change. And game.setTown 6. And there is another change. And game.setTown to 7. And there's another change. And game.setTown to 8. And there is another change. And once again, game.setTown to 9. There's another change. And finally, level 10, game.setTown to 10. There we have it. Those are all the changes. So the the shop slowly changes its appearance over time. There's also a funny little additional Easter egg, very small. It's not even actually funny is the wrong word. There is an Easter egg with these two boxes that they will get filled, but you have to do something else to make them filled. There's no reason for it. It's just something funny I threw in there while I was setting up all of this. So, yeah. There's also a nice little bit of storytelling. I'm not sure if you saw that on our desk here. So I'll refresh. So if the shop is not getting many customers, oh right, we gotta actually start the switch, otherwise it's just gonna bug out. So if we look at this guy's desk, the shopkeeper's desk, if there's not that many customers, he's probably pretty bored, so he's reading a book. Then when we game.setTown to 5, I think it was. No, game.setTown to 6. There we go. The book changes to some papers. Like, he's a little bit busier now, so he's having trouble keeping track of everything. Then game.setTown 10. And then there's this on his desk. I'll let you figure out the meaning. you can interpret its meaning pretty easily. So, nice little bit of storytelling just thrown in there. So, anyways. Actually, just for fun, we can show the full changes. It's easier to see an A-B comparison instead of seeing the gradual changes. So, if I just go here... Oh my god. If we just go here and then game.setTown to 10, you can see, bam, everything just pop in. So, yeah. So, there was something else that I said I was going to come back to and talk about. I don't remember what it was. Oh well. Anyways, yeah, I like how the shop is going. I'm glad it feels like it has its own place in my game. Like, it's not just the thing you go to get more power. It is actually like something there is some thought for both from me, but also from the player. It's not just buy the thing that makes you more powerful or to stock up on healing items. So, anyways, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Oh yeah, and speaking of, that reminds me of the thing that I said I was going to come back to. So the thing I wanted to come back to was the economy in my game. A while back, one of the things I realized about my game is how, because enemies scale off of the player's level, it sort of creates a kind of funny difficulty curve. And as a result, it wound up becoming more like levels were kind of like this automatic difficulty kind of difficulty slider. And what I realized is that it would be better to just have a flat XP curve. So rather than, like, level 2 is going to require 2 XP, level 3 is going to require 4, and level 3 is going to require 8, and level 4 is going to require 16. We're rather than, like, ballooning the amount of XP required to go to each level, instead it's just flat. So every level requires 25 experience, or you can change it in the game rules. So every level requires 25 XP. And I've been pretty happy with that change. When I played through my game from start to finish with that change being implemented, I liked it. I just like the consistency of the levels. It makes the levels feel like they have their place in the game, instead of just being an arbitrary, because that's what RPGs do kind of thing. So, yeah, I've been happy with that. Now, however, I was talking about the economy earlier and how you get this divide where you wind up with getting more money at the end game, but then also if the prices of items are going down because you're leveling up the town, then all of a sudden it's like amplifying, end game inflation. So, something I've been considering is doing the same thing for gold. Because there's no reason, if I've already flattened the XP, there's no reason to have enemy gold drops also inflate as you level up. Instead, it could just continue, just like the experience points, just be a flat number. There is already a mechanic in here that I haven't tuned very much, and I doubt anyone in the beta test even saw. But I do have Yawnfly's like overkill bonus plugin installed. And so, because the numbers are so small in my game, it's the percent overkill is actually pretty low, but it's really hard to do. However, it will multiply the amount of gold that you get at the end, and I'm thinking with some tuning to that overkill system and flattening out the gold, then it kind of motivates people to start to try to like figure out the mechanics in my game, because this is another thing that I've talked about for a while. In fact, I remember telling Miss Gristle herself of a choice that may potentially come back to haunt me later, but one thing I've decided with the difficulty ramp, as like you level up, enemies health balloons way faster than the damage that you can do. And that's because if you are not taking advantage of the mechanics in my game, then you will start to kill enemies slower. If you are taking full advantage of the equipment, understanding how to stack and understanding how to juggle and utilizing the passives that I've given you, then those ballooned health bars don't mean shit. But so basically, that's the thing, is that if you don't figure that out, it just means it's not that the combat's that much harder. I mean, it will be harder, but it's not that much harder. It's just that it's slower. So if you want combat to go faster, you just need to understand the mechanics. And the overkill thing, I think, might be a small motivation to help players feel more motivated to try to deal all the damage. Not just a little bit, not some of it, but deal all of it. And that way you would, if it's constantly being a flat number, then getting that overkill bonus would be a really nice benefit. So, yeah. That's what I'm thinking about for that. Obviously, I haven't done it yet. Yeah, is there anything else? Kind of rambled a lot through all of... Keep opening up the fucking RPG Maker help screen. I've rambled a lot, and I mostly just wanted to talk about the shop thing, because that's the thing I've worked on a lot. There's been some other adjustments as well. I think last time I had streamed playing my game, there was a constant bug that I had with my statue mechanic. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this off, because I don't think I actually showed this off yet. Let's go to the sandbox, because I believe I will automatically get the passive effects and everything here. So I fixed the I should remove that. The looping pop-up, that's fine. I'll just leave it there for now. Anyways, so my statue chisel mechanic thing had a bug, because I basically used invisible states to determine whether the statue was in your party or not, and that was to also add or remove the skill to summon statues, because I didn't want you to summon more than one statue at a time. And I fixed that problem by basically completely rewriting the logic of how it determines whether the statue's in the party or not. And I did a lot of playtesting, and it seems to work absolutely fine, so I'm very glad about that. While I was doing that, I had been making adjustments to my passives. So if you played the beta test, you know that there was a system called Conval in my game that most people didn't understand how to use it. Admittedly, that's because despite it being called Conval, balance, it was not very well balanced. It's wacky. Oh, it's just constantly saying I am running because I have all of the weapons. Cool. Anyways, yeah, I probably should remove that. Anyways, so I have balanced Conval a little bit more, and while I was doing that, I kind of changed how when you get it, it's not just at the beginning of the game. And while I was also at that, I wanted to add a new way of doing tutorials. Now, this is not a complete replacement for tutorials in my game. I should make that very clear. However, there is something I've talked a lot about in my reviewing games, and one of those things is having redundancies for tutorials. This is to serve multiple purposes. One of the main reasons is just being able to access that information again at any time is very helpful for players who may take a pause from your game, a hiatus from your game for a long time, and then decide to come back to it midway through. They may have forgotten some things, or perhaps there was some nuance that they had missed or just didn't understand in your first tutorial, in your introduction to whatever mechanic that is. And so if they have the ability to read more information about that, or at least reread the information that you presented before, then they might be able to better grasp that information. it gives them a second chance to retain that information. And then just redundancy as well, just because maybe the player just misses something, so it's good to have more information present in case, you know, they missed the tutorial for whatever reason. Maybe they're streaming and just was too busy chatting with chat and not actually reading what was on screen. Anyways, to supplement my tutorials, again, not a replacement, just a supplement. Now, what I am planning to do is I'm going to do this for every skill in my game. However, what you can do is you can go to your skills tab and you can select the skill and use it on yourself. And it will give you extended information about that skill. So here we go. We have confidence balance. Calm balance is a passive effect applied to Fiddle. Its effects vary depending on the current amount of Comp Fiddle has. The current game rule is set to offense. If Fiddle's Comp is less than 10%, her attack will do increased damage. If Fiddle's Comp is above 80%, her magic will be more effective. If Fiddle is wearing the unbalanced tiara, these effects will be doubled in effectiveness. However, when her Comp is between these two ranges, she will be slightly less effective. So, yeah, so you have extended information about Conbal here. And I also want to mention, the reason why it says the current game rule is set to offense is because, first of all, you can change how Conbal works in the game rules. And also, likewise, the tutorial message will also update accordingly depending on which game rule you have set. So if you have it set to the defensive then the message will adjust this information here to display the defense buffs. And then I decided, again, because it's in the philosophy of my game of do whatever the fuck you want, I decided to even allow them to disable the passive if they just don't want to use it. Why? I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to turn it off. Might there be some players who want to? Maybe. So, was it difficult for me to add this? No. So, sure, why not? You can activate it from the menu, and if you don't want to use the passive, you can turn it off. So that works for all of the passives. So we have Conval and HP Gate are the current passives here. There's one more passive I want to make. It's a little bit complicated, and I'm not sure. I think I can do it, but it's sort of complicated, so I'll probably have to create a forum post and get someone smart, maybe like ATT Turin again, to help me figure out how to do the passive. So here you have HP Gate, Health Point Gate shortened to HP Gate. HP Gate is a passive effect applied to Fiddle. This is a gate applied to Fiddle's health that stops lethal damage. If an enemy strikes Fiddle while the gate is closed and the damage is high enough to defeat Fiddle, the gate will prevent Fiddle from being defeated. However, the gate will now be breached and Fiddle is left with 1 HP. If the gate is not reset, it will be possible for Fiddle to be defeated in combat. In order to reset the gate, Fiddle must heal at least 100% of her health to reset the gate. This passive effect does not apply to crafted statues. So HP Gate is an interesting one. So it's like your regular endurance kind of thing that you have in Pokemon, but actually that's not where the idea came from. In Warframe, funnily enough, of all games, it's not even original to Warframe either. It's just that I used to actively watch their dev streams where they talked about the game, and I remember their dev streams where they talked about implementing what they called Shield Gate, which is where I got the name Gate from. And it works in effectively the same way, is that there is, in that game, is you have a shield in your health bar, and if you take damage that would normally break your shield, it will stop at 1 point of shield damage, or 1 point of shield left. And then if you take further damage, it will break the shield and go into your health. In order to restore the gate, you must restore your shield. So, makes sense, right? So, that's the same thing here. For this, I wanted to implement that. So, I like the having to restore up to 100%. And this also, that 100% can be adjusted through game rules as well. So I think you can move it all the way down to 80%. So you just have to restore 80% in order to restore your gate. So there you go. And once again, you can just completely turn the passive off if you choose to do so. So anyways, I'm bringing this up because I started with that tutorial being accessed from here. Like, the original idea was that I wanted, like, once you acquire these skills, these passives, they're not actually skills, right? They're programming, they're troop events. That's what they are. They are just troop events. And so I wanted some sort of representation of the passives you've acquired, since you never would actually see them, since they're all in troop events. You'd see their effects, but you wouldn't actually see your collection of them, if that makes sense. So I wanted to add them here, and that's when I had the idea of, if I add them here, they need to do something, right? This little description box up at the top is just not enough space to give a lot of information, so that's where I came up with the idea of having it, you know, give the full description of it. And with that, I decided that I wanted to take that idea and actually spread it across everything, because I actually really like it. I find it really as a very effective way to deliver supplemental information about skills in the game. And so I decided, why not? Let's add it here to Ego Artifacts Piratus, so your statue crafting skill. When I was rewriting the logic to some of the statue crafting stuff, I added the skill into the into the player's skill menu here. And now when you use it, you'll get more information about Ego Artifacts Piratus, and more importantly about the individual statues that you will you'll create. So Ego Artifacts Piratus, with this skill, Fidel will craft a favorite statue based on her mood. These statues distract enemies, reducing damage to Fidel and boosting her mood while the statues are on the field. Auto Agalma provides that, boosting Fidel's maximum confidence points. Pisces Mortui provides that, boosting Fidel's power, both attack and magic. Galastatua provides that, boosting Fidel's stack rate, and Painao provides that, boosting Fidel's maximum HP, and restores a small amount of HP upon being crafted. Fidel needs at least one marble slab to craft a statue. If Fidel has run out of marble slabs, check the shop. Felix might know where to buy more. So, there we go. You have more supplemental information about the skill, the statues, and how to get more ammo for the skill. So that's the other thing is, I had talked a few streams ago now. I think this was a while back. Or maybe not. Maybe it was the last stream. I don't know. I talked about how, during the beta test, I actually didn't have skills. Like, your attack skills didn't display in the menu. I had them hidden. You know, I used a note tag to hide them. And same thing for support. If it wasn't necessary to show it, then it was hidden. But then I decided, you know, players might actually want to read some of this information outside of battle. But then I realized, it might actually be nice to just be able to read more information about it here. And I just realized, like, I can, just this thing that I did for these passives, I can do for all the skills. And so I think that's the plan. Yeah. I've also done it for an item. I don't know if I'm going to do this for all the items, or all the key items. Maybe I will. But if you go to, like, a piece of a manuscript here, and you use it, for every 4 pieces of a manuscript, Milo, the librarian, will award Fidel with a book that gives permanent increases to Fidel's growth. Milo offers 4 different books. Pumping Iron Crushing Foes, the ultimate guide to physical combat, will boost Fidel's attack by 1 point. Magic Attack, from 0 to proficiency, will boost Fidel's magic by 1 point. The Rich Man's Method to Meet Ladies and Gain Confidence, #1 bestseller, will boost Fidel's max con P by 4 points. The Quantum Health Handbook, Unlocking the Hidden Energy of the Universe, will boost Fidel's HP by 4 points. It's okay to exchange pages for the same book multiple times without penalty. Fiddle's skills will always improve by the same amount. So there you go. Once again, you can get supplemental information by just using the item from your menu. And you can see all those books here. Pumping Iron, Crushing Foes, The Ultimate Guide to Physical Combat. The Rich Man's Method to Meet Ladies and Gain Confidence, #1 bestseller. Magic Attack from 0 to Proficiency. The Quantum Health Handbook, Unlocking the Hidden Energies of the Universe. I actually like the book names, they're so stupid. Kind of riffing on a lot of the self-help garbage that's out there. If it wasn't obvious with this one. Yeah, talked a lot more shit there. It reminds me of some like really old streams I used to do before I even had an audience. When I was first starting out this game, I would spend probably about an hour and a half, and I would just talk and talk about everything I was doing. I'm good at that. So I guess the other thing I wanted to show off is I remember this was also in one of the streams. Maybe it was also the last time I had streamed doing game dev. I talked about wanting to change the encounter sound because I've been using the RTP whoosh sound whenever you start an encounter, and I finally changed that. I did a lot of sound work today. There's still a lot more that I need to do. Basically all of the skills, all of the fire skills. Yeah. Okay, back to you, Alice. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I will get back to you right now because I don't even remember what I was fucking saying. Oh yeah, a lot of the like skills and sound effects for attacks in the cave have just not been done. Some of them don't even have animations. So there's still a lot of sound design stuff I have to do, but I did a lot of additional sound design today. I think it's playing the music here too. I can't really hear. Maybe not. That's okay. It will be playing the music. So I'll pause it. So these rats. Actually, you guys probably didn't even see this section of the game because this was not in the beta test. This was the first level that I completed. Here, these rats didn't have any sounds for them. And I made the sounds. I'm pretty happy with them. They're actually, I didn't make the sounds. I sampled the sound from a very angry rat. And then did a lot of work on making it sound even angrier. And then also, you heard the new combat start sound. I talked about wanting to do like some sort of string like hit where it's like dun dun. And so that's what I have now. Oh, I probably should have set OP fiddle. So fiddle.op. There we go. So there it is. Dun dun. You hear the screeching rat. have your dun dun. I'm pretty happy with it. And basically, actually, there's just like 5 different rat sounds that I made today. And then the battle start, and then also, you've already heard it plenty of times. When I was working on the shop, there's like a stamp sound whenever the sales sticker lands. So I also made that as well. So, yep, there's that. So, yeah, to get back to you, Miss Gristle. Yeah, I know that it sucks that it squeezes the font. That's definitely something I did my best to try to avoid. I didn't even bring this up either. I did a lot of work on some of the menus. So if we go to the item menu. Oh, there's not going to be anything there. Let's grab these items. So I did a lot of work, like rearranging stuff in this menu. This is Yawnfly's like item menu thing, but because I have what is it? F12? Yeah. Because I have the Super Tools engine, I just use the menu editor and just like really adjusted the layout here. And one thing that I was trying to be mindful of is the text squeezing here. But you know, it's like it's a toss-up between using less funny names for the book, but having the text not squeezed, or leaving these names that I feel like are just fucking aces. I love the three books that are not squished. Those are great names. They match the kind of vibe I am looking for. The librarian is kind of a goofy dude who is obsessed with like self-help gurus and stuff like that. And it's he who awards the books to you for returning the pages. And so these are like, I don't know, these book titles are perfect for that. So does it suck that the text gets squeezed? Yes. I tried my best to eliminate as much of it as I could. Some of these titles I did actually like play around with some of the vocabulary in them, like trying to retain the same kind of imagery that they conjure with their titles, while at the same time reducing the amount of words in there to kind of to get less squeezing. So I did some of that. So again, like I put some effort into trying to reduce the amount of squeezing, but it's the best I can do. But I really like the book titles, so I don't want to change it. People can deal with it. Oh, yeah, we'll close out of that. Yeah, you know, ideally too, the font that I use, I like the font, and you had complimented the font, I believe. It was you who had said that it gave you like warm feelings or something. I don't remember using your typical Gristle vocabulary. But I do have some problems with it. I do think it's a beautiful font. It's a beautiful font in 1080p. It is a real nightmare to work with in any resolution lower than 1080p. So one of the biggest problems that I had when I was, you know, playing through all of the content in my game, was that many of the notes I added here was because a text box wound up having to, I think Yanfly's message core will automatically truncate messages and move it to a second text box if it's too long. And I don't want it to automatically do that because I don't like where it cuts off the text. I also have something that goes in between each text box. So I don't want it to do that. Many of the messages of things that need to be fixed was just that, was automatic text boxes, whatever, the messages being automatically placed across two text boxes. And that's because I had used a more normal size for a font, for the font in my game. But these really, really thin, like, bars, these really thin beams that are in the font will sometimes disappear because of the lower resolution. And so somewhere along the way, I realized that it could be really difficult. Like, the legibility is kind of lost because of those thin beams. There's, like, single pixel wide beams. You can kind of see it here in the H. Like, the beam across the H is almost completely disappeared. And because of that, I decided to up the size of the font in my game, and that's what because the font was increased, that's what forced a lot of the messages to get automatically split across two message boxes. So yeah, if the game was being rendered at 1080p, I'm sure I could use more normal sized fonts because we'd have more pixels to work with for displaying thin little beautiful beams. But I decided to render the game at 720p. So, yeah. So, what else have I worked on? Man, there's so much stuff that's rid of word wrap, horrible to work with. Well, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever really had any major problems with word wrap. There's been a few times where it would wrap. This mostly happens with descriptions for items, where it would wrap the word before the space. So what would happen is, like, it moves the rest of the sentence down to the second line, but it's sort of before the space. So it's like the sentence starts slightly indented by one space, and it just looks weird. So I've had that problem with word wrap, but that's the only problem I've had with word wrap so far. There is the automatic, like, taking, like, whatever's left over the message. If the message is too long and moving it to a new message box, that is a problem. And like I said, that was because I normally make sure that I've talked about this in my game streams too. I really don't like when sentences get broken across two message boxes, and that's because it's kind of like whenever you are reading a book and you turn the page. Like, you can't just have a continuous flow of that thought. There's an interruption to that thought, and that kind of makes it difficult to parse the information that you're reading because you are breaking the information up. So I've talked about not breaking up your sentences across multiple message boxes. If you can't fit everything that you are trying, if you can't fit, the whole sentence in one message box, then, play around with font sizes, fonts, or change the language, adjust the wording. So anyways, that's one of the things, is that I wouldn't like it to automatically split the thing across two message boxes because of that kind of thing. I always try to make sure whenever I'm like playtesting like cutscenes or whatever, I make sure that the whatever message I'm writing fits in there. I've gotten a pretty good sense of what fits in a message box without like actually having to playtest the game. I know the font size that the game is being displayed at, and and how many lines there are, so I kind of have a general idea of like, okay, this is maybe too many words for this sentence, let's cut this down a little bit. Or, you know, another thing is you don't have to cut the sentence down, but you could also cut the sentence into two parts. If you have a sentence that's that long, that's going to go across like multiple message boxes, that's probably a compound sentence, and you can break a compound sentence up into two individual sentences. Yeah, if you can't get a sentence within a message box, improve your writing. Yeah, I don't know. There are going to be, I think, some exceptions. As I was just saying, you might have used a compound sentence. But in that case, yeah, I guess it's still improving your writing. You can break the compound sentence up into two separate sentences. That way you can move one sentence to the separate message box. Or use vocabulary that is more concise. So, actually, yeah, you're kind of right. Just improve your writing if you can't get a sentence to fit within a message box. Unless you're using really tiny message boxes or really big fonts. In which case, you probably have a design problem. Yeah, I don't know if there was, what else did I do? So one thing is, you know, I've been working now. And it's kind of funny how much free time I had before when you're not working. And then suddenly you're working, and it's like, oh god, I only have like 1 hour today to work on my game. And then tomorrow I'm going to be too busy to do any work on it. So maybe this week I'll get maybe 2 hours worth of work done. Which, as you can imagine, is not a lot of work when it comes to game development. The designing the pictures for that fake HUD for the shop actually surprisingly has taken a long time. The accessories, the reason why it hasn't been done yet, I couldn't display the accessory HUD yet, it's because they kind of need a different user interface. So you can see I was kind of working on it here, trying to figure out a design for it. But the weapons themselves, oh gosh, there's some pieces missing. What is missing? Oh, it's like the description. Maybe in the title. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah. So, anyways, yeah, designing this took quite a while. Like, I had the image in my mind of how I wanted it to look. And, you know, the animation of, like, the top and the bottom coming in with this icon coming in from the side. Like, I had that in my mind. I knew I wanted to do that, but I just couldn't, like, quite visualize all the details. The clearest part was probably the icon and the description. For the title, I wasn't really sure. Like, I wasn't even sure if I was going to put the title there or not. Because sometimes the descriptions contain the title of the item, so it's kind of like, well, there's no reason to have it there if it's there, but then I guess it would make things more clear. But anyways, obviously I settled on having the title. Of course, you know, having more details as well is like, making it look good. Having it just flat text is just not interesting, so I wanted it to look more compelling. So you kind of have this like sort of fake metallic kind of look going through it. So yeah. all that just took a lot of time. I think I spent a lot of my past week, maybe 2 weeks, working on this stuff. It takes a lot of time that I don't have much of. So, the other thing is that now that I'm working again, I'm no longer on hiatus with Somon. So Somon is preparing to do some more artwork for me. But we are working on a... I can talk about this because I have nothing else to talk about. So, and it's still a little bit early to end the stream, so I'll just talk some more shit. Let's talk some more shit, man. So I've briefly mentioned this. In fact, actually, I think if you check the description, I don't remember. I think I still link my book that I wrote in the description. Maybe. I don't remember if I finally decided to remove that out of just embarrassment. Because I don't want people to read it. So a long, long time ago, not in a galaxy far away, in the same galaxy, I wrote a book. In fact, I spent a lot of my life writing that book. I would probably sound like your typical RPG maker dev when I tell you, oh yeah, thanks for talking about music. I'm not making more music for you, but speaking of music, let's get that going. Let's talk about how you're going to make more music for Dungeon Rummage. We'll come back to that. So, a long time ago, I had written a book. And I'd sound like an RPG Maker dev when I tell you that I had spent 6 years writing the book. And the end result is just like an RPG Maker dev. And the end product is not very good. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love that book, and because I know what I wanted it to be. And the thing is that prior to starting development on this game I'm working on, I was actually writing a sequel to it. I was making good progress on it too. I probably could have finished it in a lot less than the first book. And it was way more interesting because it was... I mean, it's a shame that it would be a sequel to a bad book, because that means no one would read the fucking sequel for sure, because you'd have to get through garbage first to get to something good. But, I don't know, it wasn't really about who was going to read it. Of course I want people to read it, because that's what it means to put something out online. But, there was just a pleasure in just, like, me putting these words on the page and saying, that's my story. Whether people read it or not, I didn't really matter to me that much. And I did really like where the sequel was going, because the first one was, you know, I don't know, like anime, epic, whatever, end of the world kind of bullshit. But the sequel, like, really honed in on more personal drama, like more interpersonal drama. And just, I don't know, it was so much more fun writing about writing characters and seeing how those characters would interact with each other, because like this one has these beliefs and this one has this beliefs, and seeing how those like game pieces, like chess pieces, putting them together and seeing the interaction, you know. Anyways, that's all beside the point. So however, because that book took up a large part of my life, writing that, you know, like I said, I still have a fondness for it. It was a major part of my life. And so actually some of the characters have been lifted and placed into this game, mostly as side characters, and they have their own story. And so there is like a whole pretty major side quest in the game dealing with characters from my book. It's actually kind of funny. It's a shame that I never finished the sequel, because if there was anyone who had ever read the sequel, it would be like reading that book, but in a different time, in a different universe. But the events are very similar. And so I need to get that character drawn up. So I've been just staring at my folders, trying to navigate there. Let me actually navigate there instead of just stare at them. Do I have all the references? Yeah, okay. So, so here's a story time. People who... This is going to be archive watchers, definitely no one here in chat, but the people who've been subscribed to me for way too fucking long, you know, the OGs that are in my Discord, you know, they might remember I talked about this story. So when I was writing the book, I needed an artist to design the characters for the front cover, because I wanted the front cover of the book to have the characters on them. And so I went through two different artists. So the first artist designed my character Quill, and this was her design here. There's also this one. Oh, it's just slightly different colors, but otherwise mostly the same. Anyways, so oh, you can't see it. There we go. So she designed this one. She designed some of the other characters too, but I don't know, said something like she hated my fucking guts or something. I don't know what I don't really recall what I had done to piss her off, but apparently she hated working with me and decided to drop the project, so cool. So y'all capping? No cap, man, no cap. So she decided to just drop the project, so cool, no problem. Wound up having to find a different artist. So I had another artist redesign the character here. So this is the character that Somon is going to be designing, because I guess that's the joke now. It's now I'm trying to see how many artists can redesign this character. I'm just trying to collect different versions of this character. So we're working on that. I have to, because she doesn't do pixel art. She just does, you know, CG art. And so she was like, well, I really kind of imagine his clothes like this. She likes this style. I had told her that it, like, for my game, it's slightly a little bit too modern. So we kind of need to simplify it. No. This was for the book. The gal who did, like, all the art for my game is still on board. Also, by the way, she didn't do the title. Well, I guess, I mean, she did the art on the title menu. I made the title myself. She just did the one that's... Where is it? She just did this art here. So, anyways, she, and speaking of, she likes this design of Quill, so just, it's a little bit too modern, so she's gonna kind of make it a little bit more contemporary. And yeah, it would be a real shame. I'd be heartbroken if she wasn't gonna be able to help me anymore, because yeah, her art's really good. It's funny though, because she only does like moe, like cute girls, right? So we've been slowly working on getting her to improve her skills as doing more art than just moe cute girls. So she'd never drawn a male figure seriously. I'm sure she's probably done doodles in the past of a male figure. I'm sure it's not never, but she never seriously done a male figure before until my project. And I basically told her, like, I'm basically paying you to practice, you know. Like, I do take my game seriously, but it's like, you know, if the characters turn out a little bit more effeminate than usual, that's fine. Anime boys are usually pretty effeminate looking anyways, so it's like, it's not the biggest deal. But she's surprisingly done pretty good. So we're moving on to Quill. who's a male figure, and we're gonna have to see how that turns out when she finishes Quill. Now, as I keep trying to get to, is she wants me to do the pixel art because she is not a pixel artist, and she is kind of set on doing this kind of clothing for him. And I don't really have any character art that matches this. I did try, like, kind of collaging different assets together, but this was not good enough for her, so it looks like I'm gonna do some custom pixel art. Ooh boy! So we'll see how that goes. I need to get working on that. So I'm trying to finish up the shop stuff as quickly as I can, so that way I can start working on the pixel art stuff, because she's kind of waiting on that. But yeah, I think, as far as I'm aware, she seems pretty dedicated to the project, which is great. I think she needs the money, because I honestly don't know much about Somon. It's kind of funny, because we've talked a lot, we've sent a lot of messages to each other, but it's always been about the project. I don't even know if she is a she. She could potentially actually be a he. I don't think so, because the way that she talks and the fact that she does a lot of moe cute girl stuff makes me believe that she is a she. She need the money because she Asian. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. She needs money. She's not. No, Japanese people aren't poor. I mean, she's a little bit poor because I think, again, like I said, I don't know much information about her. But it's kind of speaking of the way that she talks, there's something about the way that she talks that sounds young. And she told me something before. It wasn't like definite proof of anything, but she'd mentioned something that made it sound like, oh, she is in college right now, or she's still in school. She could potentially be a high schooler, as far as I know. Like I said, I don't know anything about her. I've never seen her. I don't know where she lives. I know she lives in Japan. I had originally requested, when I had reached out to her, I'd originally requested, was like, hey, if you live in the area that I live in, since I don't really, like, I definitely can't write Japanese. I mean, poor people. Oh. Yeah. Fair enough. Anyways, so I was like, you know, it's so much easier for me to communicate here in Japan if we can meet in person, because there's just so much more I can do if we meet in person. I can speak a little bit of Japanese, not a lot, but I can speak some. I can use Google Translate to make up for any of my shortcomings. Now, of course, I can use Google Translate through messaging too, but that's the only thing that I can do through messaging is use Google Translate. At least in person, I can try to talk. I also have gestures and facial expressions to fall back on. You know, there's a lot of things that it's just so much easier to communicate in person for me. So I had originally asked if we could do that when I first reached out to her. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So, I don't know if she actually lives nearby or not. I have no idea where she lives, other than the fact that it's in Japan somewhere. So, I know nothing about my artist. I've been messing with the volume knob, and I don't know if I fucked up the volumes a little bit. It's a little bit on the loud side. So, anyways, you wanted to talk about why I'm not making, or how I'm gonna make more music for Dungeon Rummage. Right now, if you remember, when I had done those 2 songs for you, I had told you, I just know they all slow, and they all busy with something else. Simon's fucking busy playing Final Fantasy 14. I know that about her. I know that much about her. Because after having a long hiatus, you know, of being jobless and not really communicating with her because, well, I can't pay her for her work. When my first message back to her, you know, I said, hey, I got a job now, blah, 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 let's continue work. Yeah, man, of course they have. Anyways, and, you know, I sent the first message, and then it was like, you know, I don't know, like a week later or something that she got back to me, and she was like, oh, I'm really sorry that I didn't reply to you right away. I've been really enjoying the new patch for Final Fantasy 14. And it's just like, no problem, man. No problem. So, I don't know if she has other work that she's doing. The thing is she doesn't, as far as I know, she doesn't really advertise, like, commissions. I just reached out to her, and was like, hey, do you want to help me with this game? And she was like, let me just make sure you're a real person first. So I had to send her, like, links to my socials and stuff. But once she saw I was a real person, she was like, okay, well, I'll do it. So I don't know if she actually does commissions or if she's just doing commissions for me. She didn't really ask much about the game, though. It's funny. I've thought about this so much. You know, there's so many fucking RPG Maker games that are just fucking hentai, right? And Somon strikes me as this innocent girl. I don't know much about her, but again, it's just the way that she talks. She's, you know, probably a little bit of a prude, very innocent about this kind of stuff. And I was like, man, you didn't ask anything about my project. It could have been like some sort of fucking hentai game, and you are just making art for that. So, I don't think she knows much about what my game is, other than what I have told her about it myself. She never really asked anything. Yeah, better than 6 months. I mean, that 6 month kind of wait thing. I don't know if you're talking about someone that you commissioned. I've seen that kind of thing with people who, you know, offer their services for free. There was, man, this was a long time ago, like really, really early in my music career. I had a song that I was working on. Actually, it was this guy, he just uploaded a little short ditty that he had actually recorded on his bike ride home. It was just him singing, and I actually thought it was a really lovely song. But of course, you know, he recorded it while he was bike riding home, so I was like, hey, would you mind, like, you know, maybe since you're just kind of coming up with the lyrics on the spot, you know, do you mind, like, tightening up the lyrics, or maybe, you know, singing it in, like, more ideal conditions than on your bike ride home? And he was like, yeah, man, I'd love to. I would love to have this as like a real song. And I was like, cool, great. And then it was like a year later, he got back to me, and he was like, yeah, sorry, man, I haven't gotten back to you yet, but I'm gonna work on it. It's like, it's been a fucking year, man. Like, who gives a shit now? Yeah, I know that the people, like, they probably don't know much about it, but it's like, and I don't expect Somon to know the ins and outs of my game. Like, she doesn't really need to know much about it, but I feel like at the very least, I would want to know, like, what kind of audience is this game for? Is it an adult audience? And if so, are we talking porn, or are we talking just mature content? You know? I'm not necessarily a prude, like, oh, the best song is on? I'm not much of a prude, but I would still want to be mindful about where and how my music is represented, you know? Really thirsty. I'm out of beer. Drinking tea. So, anyways, yeah, to roll back, I was, talking about doing, I was bringing up, I know you were joking, but I was bringing up, doing more songs for you. So those two songs that I did for you, if you recall, you'd been asking me if I had been working on them at all, for a while, and I was like, did you send a shut the fuck up? Alright. I don't know. I don't know why it wouldn't go through. It could. YouTube has been really picky about profanity. Like, I don't have profanity filtered at all in my chat. You should technically be able to use it in my comments or in my chat anywhere. Thanks for joining, Miss Gristle. Always glad to have you here. Have fun doing whatever you're going to do. So anyways, I don't have that filtered out, but oftentimes I've had my comments filtered on other channels because I might have thrown in some bad, naughty words in there. And I've had other people tell me, like, hey, I left a comment on your video, but it was WooTBM. it's always WooTBM. He's like, I left a comment. Yeah, also that too. I don't know, it's just YouTube being fucking weird. Or it might not even, actually, it might not be YouTube. It could be OBS. Did OBS just not get it? Nope, it's not in YouTube either. Looking at the YouTube dashboard, it's not there. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know. YouTube's just being weird about this kind of shit. WooTBM had, trouble in the past leaving comments on my channel. I'd even, like, whitelisted him. Like, there's, like, in your, like, YouTube settings, you can go to, like, approved users, which will just automatically approve anyone's comments. But apparently not, because despite putting him in that list, occasionally still his comments will just, I don't know, YouTube will just be like, nah, we're not going to show you that. It's like, cool, thanks, YouTube. So I don't know. It's just YouTube being weird. I keep getting sidetracked, though. So, I was, if you remember, back in winter, I was attempting to work on the songs, but I was having trouble, and I kept getting frustrated with it, and I told you, just wait until my job is up, then I'll have a lot of free time, and I can just work on it, you know, I can just spend all day working on it, and not feel frustrated because I got nothing accomplished. And so that's when I got those songs done. Now, I'm working again, and I barely have enough time to work on my own game, let alone working on music for someone else. So basically, unless I'm getting paid for it, I'm probably not going to do any more music for you. Maybe when summer comes around, because I'll have a long summer break. I hijacked the stream for it to reach the allotted time. I don't know what the allotted time is. I try to shoot for at least 2 hours. Anyways, you know, I'm scheduled to have a pretty long summer break, so maybe during that time, depending on how picky you are about your music, maybe I can do another song for you, then, but like right now, no. I'm trying to work on my game, and I can barely find time to do that, so, yeah. This is not gonna happen. I see how it is. It's fine. I'll still have the longest credits in there. My credits will still overshadow whoever else you hire. So, I mean, I don't know, like, did you still need more battle music? Because I think that was the one thing that you were complaining about. And you said, like, level music, too. I mean, I may have found someone. Probably gonna do some skill trading. Yeah. Technically, I didn't really want to say anything about this, but since you brought it up, I think we had well, we didn't originally, but I think somewhere along the way you had sweetened the deal by saying that there would be a skill trade since you had opened up your mapping service. That you were gonna do some maps for me, but honestly, the only maps I need left is for the last level I need to make, and I don't know when I'm going to start working on that. The town in my game still has, like, it's really been put on the back burner. There's a lot of parts of the town that have just not been implemented, and so I really need to work on the town. I mean, the shop is part of that, so that's one of the things I'm working on, as you can tell. Then, the way that I've planned that final level is, like, really weird. And I'd rather just have full control over it. So, yeah. You guys rock out to this track while I go pee. Action sequences was one of the other things, too. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it. Hang on, I'm gonna go pee and I'm gonna get some more tea as well, so I'll be right back. Just jam out to the music for a bit. Edwards Kungarov says perpendicular. Interesting. New chatter, welcome to the stream. Sorry you caught me on a pee break. So, anyways, yeah, thing is with the action sequences, so there's another thing that actually your game made me realize that I don't like about action sequences, and that's that they ignore the action speed option in the game. Like the animation itself, you know, the attack animation, of course, will be played at a faster speed. But like, you know, making the players jump to a location or camera zooming in or whatever, all of that does not get sped up. And so without being able to speed that up, that just kind of slows down combat more. And that's just one thing I don't actually like. You get away with it in your game because you have like timed button inputs, so you're actually doing something while you're waiting for those animations to play out. But like in my game, where there's not timed inputs, you would just be waiting, and I really think that would kill a lot of the that would really make okay, well that's good. Maybe that's worth looking into. Anyways, there is one skill that I think I will need, that I definitely want an action sequence for, kind of like a very end of the game kind of skill. So again, that's also like way off into the future. So yeah, because of the inputs, it basically become a difficulty setting. So yeah, that just leaves the mapping. So my idea for this last level is, so a lot of the you know, game rules options really reminded me of like skirmish style games like you know, Civilizations or Heroes of Might and Magic, or other games where you like pick a map, you load up and you might play that map for a few hours, and then, you know, you reach victory and you move on to another map. You know, those kind of games. Usually those kind of games usually have their own set of rules before you jump into yeah, I just figured, you know, just chatting, letting that timer go. So you know, a lot of those kind of games would have like options at the beginning of the match for you to kind of customize the game, and that's kind of how I've always thought of my game rules, except admittedly my game rules have gotten way more out of hand than compared to those, because those kind of games might have, yeah, at best 10 options, but usually less than that. Because of that, I kind of had this idea for the level. Each level has its own little gimmick, right? And so for this last level, I was thinking, what would happen if you had like one of those 4X games, but it was also a JRPG? And I really kind of like the idea that I've come up with. So the map itself would not be like something that you travel through, but it would actually be a series of maps that would, you know, that you would want to travel around, if that makes sense. You travel around and explore, to exploit, expand, exterminate. What are the 4 X's? Exploit, expand, exterminate. I think exterminate is actually the last one. I don't know, but you get the point. So, the maps, I think, need to be pretty particular in their design for where, like, resources need to be. So, that's what I'm saying, is that, it's pretty complicated, so we'd have to work pretty closely together on that, or it might just be better if I just do it myself, because I know where stuff needs to be. Yeah, 4X stands for 4 words that start with X. I don't remember the 4th one. Expand, exploit, exterminate, extinguish. I don't fucking know. Like Google it. 4X games meaning, yeah. Explore, expand, exploit, exterminate. There it is. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create a map that would be ideal for exploring, expanding... Wait, what was... exploiting and exterminating. But also in a JRPG way, too, you know. Like, it's not a 4X game. It's sort of an exploration of, if we made your typical JRPG, but it was also a 4X game. It had 4X ideas in it. But at its core, it'd still be very JRPG. I'm excited about doing that. I have a lot of cool ideas for that. And part of me just is like really eager to jump in on that. But I also want to expand my library of tile sets for that. I've already talked about in the past that I really, really hate the FSM tile, forest tile set. Because you have like the tree leaves overhead kind of tiles, and they also have shadows, and so like getting the shape of the tree leaves and the shadows to line up is, and MV's fucking automatic layers. Sometimes I wish I had MZ despite Visual Stella sucking, but at least being able to switch between layers would be really, really handy for that kind of shit. I hate working with it, and I've just decided that I just want to use a different tile set for the forest. I want it to be a forest, but it's not going to be an FSM forest. I might use FSM assets in addition to some other assets, but those fucking leaves overhead, I can't deal with them. That was the reason too why I think we brought up maybe you doing some maps for me, because I talked about how much I hated working with those stupid fucking leaves. And you're just like, oh, well, I can do that. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. So, there's a couple of tile sets from Kokoro Reflections that I want to pick up. I haven't got my first paycheck yet for my fancy new job, so haven't been able to pick them up yet. But once I do get paid, I do want to pick up those tile sets. Of course, they're going to be in Kokoro Reflections style, so I will need to do some style work on them to make them more appropriate for my game, and then kind of merge tile sets together. And yeah, so basically, I can't even start on the forest, even if I wanted to. I do want to, because I have lots of cool ideas for it. I really like how the leaves can make things look more foresty and dense. Yeah, the leaf roof, yeah. I like how it can make things look more foresty and dense, but God, what a fucking hassle to use. So, I'll probably just continue until I do get that first paycheck. God, I can't wait to get that first paycheck because I desperately need the money. Once I get the first paycheck, I might begin working on the forest. But in the meantime, I'll just continue working on the town because, like I said, there's been a lot of stuff that the town has existed since pretty early on in the game's development. The actual town, but the actual features of the town, yeah. I really hate, I really hate doing dialogue. I don't hate writing, but I hate writing in RPG Maker. So, well, I'm thinking, kind of run out of shit to talk about. Sent me a forest example. Oh yeah, I see. I've looked at some of the maps that you, oh, you can't even see my desktop right now anyway, so it's fine. I looked at some of the example maps that you had put up in your commission shop. And they all look really good. Yeah, I didn't see this one though, but yeah, that looks nice. Yeah. So, anyways, yes, it is another one of the good tracks. They're all good tracks, if you ask me. Actually, I'll admit there's a couple of tracks on here that I do skip whenever I'm listening to the album on my commute. It's not that I necessarily hate the tracks, but they're definitely not my favorite. There's a few tracks on the soundtrack that, I mean, one of the goals of the soundtrack when I was writing it is to try to become more proficient at writing music quickly. Because the one thing is that, like, definitely prior to the Fiddle soundtrack, is I would spend way too much time perfecting songs that, as you know, since you don't really like my previous album, doesn't really benefit anyone. Spending forever perfecting anything, really, but in this case I'm talking about music. This goes for games too, so fucking game developers, listen. Spending forever perfecting things meticulously and obsessively does nothing but hurt you, because you start getting frustrated and burnt out. You will get frustrated because things are not the way that you want them to be, and burnt out because you're spending hours and hours, you know, pixel hunting every little thing down to the last detail. And then it doesn't benefit the other people because no one's gonna fucking appreciate that. Yeah, no one is going to say, like, whoa, look at how meticulous this was, because actually, in all likelihood, what happens is, it's not meticulous. It's that you got so obsessed that you wind up getting these blinders to actually see that you've made a mess of things. You really have. If you just get things done, don't work too hard on perfecting things, you still have your full vision there to see the project as it is. You're not just looking at that one pixel. And so it's much easier to see the whole image and appreciate it. And other people will probably do too. So yeah, I don't know. So that whole soapbox is just to say that when I had started working on Fidel's soundtrack originally, it was about trying to stop my obsession with perfecting the music. It was about doing music quickly and being proficient at doing it quickly. And so some of the earlier songs that I had written, you know, they're not great, but that's kind of the point. Like, I was not trying to make something that was great. I was trying to make something that I could accept, that I was willing to accept, that got finished quickly. So there's a few songs in here, yeah, like I said, that they're not my favorite. If I'm on a commute, I skip them. I do like them though, but I've listened to the whole soundtrack many times. So after listening to those less than perfect songs, you know, the 100th time, it's kind of like, yeah, all right, we can skip it. So, anyways, unless you're able to hijack this stream with another chat message that gets me rambling for another 5 minutes, I do think I'm gonna end the stream, because we did reach that magical 2-hour mark. We've surpassed it now. And I've been chatting a lot of shit this stream, so it's a good time to call it quits here. I'll give you a moment to let the stream get caught up with chat, to see if you have anything to derail things further, but if not, we'll just end it. This is also one of your favorite songs. from your favorite part of my game. Didn't we already cover this? Although surprisingly, that's a topic I can ramble about. I can ramble about piracy. I don't view piracy so negatively. I'm not gonna ramble about that, actually. I don't see piracy as a bad thing. As long as we understand, as long as we let people know what they are doing. Like, people should be aware that when you pirate something, someone's not getting paid, right? As long as people are aware of that, piracy is not a bad thing. There's nuance to that, and I would go into a deep discussion about it, but that's kind of a discussion that I would want to make sure I have bullet points prepared to make sure that I am making my points clearly, instead of floundering about and embarrassing myself. Instead of floundering about and embarrassing myself, like that time when I tried to make a grandstand about someone's podcast and totally took the L on that one. Not only did I just make a fool of myself talking about that podcast, but also the dev that I was trying to defend also didn't appreciate it, so I took an L for both sides. So I've learned my lesson. Yeah, again, this is like something I just probably shouldn't talk about just like off the cuff without bullet points prepared so my thoughts are clear. But I will say that just because someone pirates a $10 indie game doesn't necessarily mean that was a sales lost. There's been plenty of times that I would pirate something like a game and I would play it for probably less than even Steam's 2 hours and realize this is not something that I would have paid money for, and glad that I didn't pay money for it, and just delete it because it's not something I enjoy. So that being said, I do, ironically, the thing that I pirate the most is music software. I don't need bullet points for this one. I buy most of my games, in fact, knowing about things like FitGirl. I have FitGirl's website bookmarked. Yet I rarely actually go to FitGirl for her repacks. Because Steam offers a good service. And some people buy the game after having played pirated. Yes, in fact, actually, I have done that. Yeah, alright, the little guys need every sale. But anyways, Steam offers a good service, and I'm very satisfied. I think it was Gabe Newell, who had said something like piracy is a services problem, where it's kind of like piracy happens because of a lack of accessibility. And that's not accessibility as in I can't do it because I'm handicapped, you know, that thing that I preach about often. It's not that. It's that a lack of access. And once you break it down like that, it becomes pretty obvious. Like, yeah, if you don't have enough money, you cannot access it, piracy is more likely to occur. If the game is not available in your region, that it's a lack of access, people are more likely to pirate it. So piracy is an accessibility problem. And the thing is Steam makes accessing what I want pretty easily. Sales happen quite often on Steam, and it's pretty easy to switch my region on the account and access most of the games that I want. Funnily enough, that the games that I would pirate are the games that I want to buy, but they're like fucking Bandai Namco. It's the weirdest shit. A lot of Bandai Namco's games, not all of them, mind you, but a lot of Bandai Namco's games get a PC release on Steam in the West, but not in Japan. And it's like, fucking what? You're a Japanese company, and you don't release it on PC in your own country. It's weird. Like, a lot of the Tales of games, the most recent one, which is kind of old now at this point, I think it's a couple of years old, but, I don't know, the most recent Tales game was like the first Tales game that actually got a PC release in Japan. Like Tales of Berseria, Tales of Zestiria, those games didn't get a PC release in Japan. Why? I don't fucking know. A lot of the Dragon Ball games don't get a PC release in Japan. Again, no clue why. So, yeah, that's how it works. I've had to do it several times because I've moved across the world. You know, obviously originally my account was in America, and then I lived in China for a while, and I set my account to China. There is like yeah, you might be right. I think it's 2 months cooldown before you're allowed to change it again.
but you can easily change. The reason why I say it's easy is because there are some assholes that don't make it easy. PlayStation. I did have a PlayStation account. I originally owned a PlayStation Vita, which is where my original PlayStation account was. And of course, I bought that PlayStation Vita when I was in America. And when I moved to Japan, I couldn't transfer that account to a Japanese account. I bought a PlayStation 4 when I moved to Japan, and I wanted to use my existing PlayStation account, but I could not use it. Well, I could, but it would, I couldn't access the Japanese storefront, the storefront in the country that I lived in, and it just caused all sorts of problems. Since everything's blocked in Germany, yeah. Germany and Australia, man, you guys got it rough with your games. So anyways, yeah, so, like I said, I went off on a tangent there. I don't really pirate games much at all. I normally would prefer to buy games. I also like having all this stuff, like, linked to my account. There's a lot of weird, like, tiny little things that Steam does that makes me obsessed about, like, having a library of games. Just the fact that it's a library of games makes it feel like it's a little bit closer to ownership. When I pirate a game, it doesn't really feel like as much ownership, despite actually it technically being more like ownership since there's no DRM or servers that it needs to talk to. But, Steam tracks my playtime. I'm kind of obsessed with playtime. I don't know why, but I am. I will never, I rarely leave games running AFK unless it's a short toilet break or something. But if I need to go pick up lunch or something, I don't just leave the game running. I make sure to close down the game. If I want to be gone for anything longer than 10 minutes, I close down the game because I want to keep track of my playtime quite obsessively. So, there's a lot of stuff that keeps me within the Steam ecosystem that I really appreciate, and that's why I wind up buying most of my games despite being aware of piracy. Not to mention, of course, I would like to benefit the people who make these games. I want to show my appreciation for those games, so I'm going to pay money for them. Now, when it comes to music software, I pirate a lot of music software. Don't get me wrong, I do buy some music software. But a lot of the music software I wind up pirating, and that's because of kind of the opposite of everything Steam has done. First of all, some of the insane prices for bare bones basic plugins that you would need in music software can sometimes, some of these companies are just out of their fucking mind with how much they are asking. Like $300 for a fucking equalizer. You've got to be kidding me. There is an equalizer right here built into Foobar for free. You've got to be joking that it would cost $300. There are plenty of other great free equalizers too, by the way. So an equalizer's not the best example, but I'm just kind of saying, like, this is the thing. There are these developers, music software developers, that just charge, like, they pull just the fattest, ugliest fucking number out of their ass and say, that's how much we're gonna charge. It's even worse that, thanks to Adobe's bullshit, that a lot of these companies are like, they're like, oh, we hear you. You don't want to pay $300 for our equalizer. Well then, why don't you just pay us $50 a month and you'll have access to all our plugins? Oh, cool. You mean all 10 of your fucking plugins that I could probably get similar functions to for free from some other smaller developer? It's crazy. That's just with the prices. The prices are just nuts for software. I can understand if it's hardware. But the software is just crazy. Then, there's no central, place for purchasing these things. every developer has their own website with their own login credentials, with their own registration function for registering their products. And keeping track of all this is so difficult. It's like, I have license keys that go to this email, and I have license keys that are only accessed from this company's website, and I have license keys that I need this fucking installer to be able to actually even get the license key from. So having to keep track of all the license key is a real nightmare. And so, because, like, thank God Steam makes all this centralized. Like, you don't have to keep track of your licenses for your games, your game keys or whatever. You just push download and there it is. There is no centralized thing like that for music software. There's been some people who have kind of tried, but considering these folks want to charge $300 for a really simple fucking plugin, you can bet your ass everyone in this industry is greedy as hell, and no one wants to have to give up 30% or whatever the share is going to be able to put their thing on a centralized place. So despite efforts trying to be made to have a more centralized place to access the software you've purchased, it's never taken hold, and probably never will. Then it gets even worse with some companies not only charging you your fucking kidneys in order to buy their product, but then also decide to hate their fucking customers while they're at it, using things that are not software keys. They will use hardware keys, USB dongles, in order to register their software. And annoyingly, when you buy their software, you do not get these fucking USB keys with it. These USB keys you have to buy separately, and they cost $40 fucking for one fucking key. It's nuts. So you're spending, like, these are the companies that do this usually have the most expensive software too. So we're talking like $600 software. So you're spending $600 on a piece of software and then have to spend an additional $40 just to register that software. You've got to be out of your fucking gourd to think I'm going to be paying that kind of money. It is nuts. So this is where I pirate a lot of the shit here. Or I look for, developers who are actually making stuff for free. I think a lot of the software I use is freeware, because it's not that I don't want to buy some of these more premium products. It's just, there's no way I'm going to spend that kind of money for one fucking thing, and then have to keep up with the keys, or have to buy some expensive USB dongle. It is, I don't know, man. I hate the music plugin software industry. It's just busted. So yeah, like I said, yeah, I do a lot of piracy there. Yes, you have successfully derailed the stream for another 15 minutes. Great job. Piracy is something I do care a lot about, because there is a lot of nuance to it, and it can result in heated arguments. I can easily see there was a forum that I used to attend way more regularly than even the RPG Maker forums, and all of the members that were the most active there were very, very outspoken about piracy. And it was a music forum too, which is kind of where it's kind of ironic. They were like defending or not defending piracy. You get what I'm trying to say. They were defending the developers from piracy the most avidly. And it's kind of funny that despite being part of that forum and that culture, there was a time I was quite avidly against piracy. But it reminds me of a psychological event called suppression, where it's kind of like the more you can think of it like a spring, where it's like the more and more someone tells you don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, the minute you are out of that person's grasps, that spring bounces back and can bounce way further than wherever it should have been in the first place. And that's kind of exactly what happened. Is like once I stopped attending that forum regularly, I started pirating music software way, way more than I would have ever done it in the past. Anyways, that's to say, I know that a lot of the arguments I've made about pirating music software, there's a lot of those kind of people who would instantly have tons and tons of rebuttals that they would present rather unpleasantly about why I'm wrong. It's kind of one of those things where there is a lot of nuance to it, and as I said, I would prefer, if I was going to discuss it more deeply, piracy as a whole, really, I would rather make sure that I have my thoughts in order, in bullet points. So I've expressed as much as I can, and you've derailed for 15 minutes, so we'll call it good there. And I'm not going to let you derail this thread. Sure, this thread, fine, we'll go with that. I won't let you derail this thread anymore. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. So, thank you very much for watching and derailing the stream. Next time, I don't know. What am I going to do next time? Games, maybe? I gotta work on figuring out, we gotta see channel growth, and I'm actually seeing channel shrinkage, not growth. So we gotta figure out, gotta make new plans, new strategies, new content. I pirate everything. There we go. Yep. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys next time with whatever I decide to do. Bye.